very much.
Welcome to the 2010 Melinda Awards for Young Adult Literature. Coming to you live from beautiful downtown Rollywood. Now, the stars of our show tonight are the gifted teens from the award-winning Eva Perry Mock Prince Awards Book Club. Award-winning as in the 2009 Margaret A. Edwards Award for Best Teen Literature Program in the country. And of course with them, they're fearless and she needs to be leader, Valerie Nicholson. Now we also have, starring in our show, students from the ECI 521 Young Adult Graduate Class in Young Adult Literature from NC State. We have a few of them here actually, and we have others in the book hinge. So let's give them another round of applause. Give it up for them. We'd also like to give a shout out to James Fullerton for catching our stream for Sparta Island in Teen Second Life. Thank you guys for joining us. Well, I'm Chris Chrisman, your host, your actual host. Okay. And your virtual host. In the book hinge, I'm being channeled by my avatar. And you guys may have noticed in the book hinge that she's 5 feet tall and blue. Right, right. Her name is Balchai, and she's of the Navi people from the planet of Pandora. And when she asked me, Chris, what should I wear? I said, well, black tie and tail. Of course. All right. Okay, so I'm sure that the huge blue avatars are going to win big at the Academy Awards. You know, the Oscar program in Hollywood? Right. You guys have 9 nominations for Academy Awards. The book to beat tonight is a small blue book by Laurie Halse Anderson. It's called Winter Girls. And it's up for, coincidentally, 9 Melinda Awards. Now, Laurie Halse Anderson wrote Speak. And in the book Speak, Melinda Sordino means mute for Italian. Did you know that? No. But Melinda spoke volumes straight to our hearts and has one of the most authentic teen voices we've ever heard. Hence, we named the Melinda Awards after her. So, we will watch tonight to see which book, in fact, that would be a very good place to begin with most authentic teen voice. Who would like to make the presentation for most authentic teen voice? Cool, come right up. Thank you.
All right. Nominated for Most Authentic Teen Voice, Katniss in Catching Fire, Tara in North of Beautiful, Leah in Winter Girls, and Mia If I Stay. And the winner is...
Now, does Sharon get to do something?
No, she's just bad.
She doesn't want to, so beautiful. Leah in Winter Girls.
All right. The very first award. We won't talk about Winter Girls yet because we have plenty of chances to talk about it, okay? We are, oh, okay, everybody is pointing to...
No.
Is that from in honor of Balder, one of the quirkiest characters. We'll see if he wins that award. From Going Bovine, we have a little gnome here, a garden gnome from NC State. His name is Wolfram, after one of my favorite professors. And he loves to have his picture made. So he's going to show us where to stand so we can be big on screen, in the middle of the screen here. Okay. So let's go ahead and do the most promising new author. Laurie Halse Anderson, 10 years ago, Speak was her first book. Did I mention that? We could be looking at an amazing new author. We'll see. So who would like to give the award for most promising new author? And you could talk about the book too. Okay? Please, please come for it. Come up for it. We could have adults too. We have teachers too.
Go Red.
Most promising new author.
For most promising new author, we have Janie Lee Summer for Bones of a Fairy and If I Stay by Gail Foreman.
Janie Lee Summers, Bones of a Fairy.
What would you like to speak about it?
Oh, I did.
Cool. Do we have any teachers who'd like to talk about it too? Or, please, students too.
Junior first.
You can go first.
Okay. Bones of Fairy is set on Earth, but it does have magic in it. And it was sort of a mix of sci-fi and fantasy because it was post-nuclear war and magic mixed together. And I really loved it. It was an amazing book. She did a wonderful job of describing, and it was a really interesting concept. I've never seen those two ideas mixed together.
My favorite, I don't know if there's a quote in the book, but during the book club when I was describing this, I wasn't foaming at the mouth quite for this book, but I was pretty excited. It's essentially they're trying to blow the fairies up. They're like, they do not like the fairies, they do not like fairy people. If you have any magical powers, get out, leave the town right now, which I thought was interesting. Who blows up fairies, you know, that's not, it's not nice. So I just thought it was really interesting how you kept the concept of like, okay, this is after the nuclear war, but we're going back to the past where we don't have running water, electricity, stuff like that. Like you can find it, but it's really rare. Or like you'll go onto the pavement and it'll be rugged and gone, but it's still there, but you're in the past, like using buggies and wagons, if that makes sense. I just thought it was a really interesting concept, and I like the size of the book and the cover of the book, and I just thought that was neat, and I don't know.
Those things are important. Thank you. So let me ask if there's anyone out there in virtual land, in the book hinge, who would like to speak up for Bones of Fairy. Are they shy in the virtual world? Laura, talk a little, just a little about it, since this is your, like, inspiration.
Okay. Well. Okay. So, I thought that it was really, like, I liked the book. It wasn't my favorite out of all of them. So, but I thought that the themes of the book were pretty interesting, and that, this girl, like, what she had grown up and learned to hate was actually, like, part of her. So I thought that was really interesting, and I liked the little cat in it. That was kind of cute. It was sad. Oh, my, let's see what happened.
No spoilers.
Well, it wasn't sad. It was really happy. Okay.
But I'm good. Now we have the award for Best Male Character in a Supporting Role. This could be interesting. Best male character in a supporting role. Anybody stand up with it?
I got hands to go up for you.
Come on. Thank you. Whoops.
Do you want to read this part?
And the nominees for Best Male Character in a Supporting Role are Gonzo from Going Bovine, Sam from Shiver, Jacob in North of Beautiful, Adam If I Stay, and Adam from Genesis.
All right, and the award goes to Adam from If I Stay.
You could speak to that book.
Should I give like my spiel on it? Well, I really enjoyed If I Stay. It was definitely my favorite book that I've read from this young adult collection. And one thing that I really liked about it was kind of the fear factor about it. I'm petrified of getting injured, getting in a car accident, and probably my biggest fear is going to the hospital, being in the hospital, visiting people who are in the hospital. It's just the scariest place on earth, in my opinion. And I also really like the underlying theme of the book, Maya's choice to live or to die. Will she stay? And it was just a beautifully written book, and I won't give away the ending, the choice that she makes, but I will definitely recommend that you read it. I read it in one day and took about, I don't know, 4 hours to read, and definitely recommend it to everybody.
No, okay.
Actually read it.
How about from a student perspective, because we like to have a teen and teacher perspective.
Please, go. Don't ruin everything. I'm going to talk on it too.
Okay. So when somebody told me that, okay, so basically she gets in a car accident and she gets into a coma and decides if she's going to stay or if she's going to die. And what I loved most about this book was it wasn't like a quick thing. Like it took her, and it would flash back and it wasn't confusing with all of that. And she could, it wasn't like, 1 minute she was like, oh, I think I'm just going to die. She's like, I'm just gonna, and then the next minute she was like, oh, wait, but this, she sort of she sort of grew in, how do I say this? She sort of grew into, I don't know, her choice, it made,
It wasn't just a quick slapdash.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I'm gonna go because, this happened, or I'm gonna stay because my boyfriend's still here, It was, she actually...
I love this book. Don't
it was so beautifully written. This is my favorite book of the year, I would say.
Yeah. Well, you didn't read Going Bovine, so you can't make any... All
right.
Let me just add that this was one of your honor books.
This was definitely one of my honor books. I had a really hard time choosing. But anyways, what I love most about this book, because I'm picky on writing and stuff, is the fact that it didn't go in a chronological order. There's actually, she went back, and it told a story by going backwards, and then kind of bringing you up to date that way. It wasn't just straight line, and I thought that was a really awesome way of doing that, because it showed why she made her decisions the way she did, because if you're going through seeing your family and stuff, I had great times, but my family's not alive anymore, so what, it's kind of hard, and I just really, really liked how you went backwards, and then it was going forwards.
Oh, another thing I want to say is you get so attached to the characters, in 2 pages, I was attached to this one character so much, and then something, and it was just I was so shocked at how gripped I was to this one character, so.
We love to see that kind of emotion in the book. Thank you. Now, how about best female character in a supporting role? This could be interesting. Best female character in a supporting role. Let's have a teen and a teacher, or 2 teens.
Nominated for Best Female Character in a Supporting Role: Dulcie from Going Bovine, Jasmine from Marcello in the Real World, and Casey from Winter Girls.
And the winner is Casey in Winter Girls.
Wow, this may be the very first time that stay up here, especially with the line, that a deceased character has won the award for best character. Do you guys remember such a time? Very interesting. Now, do you want to talk about Winter Girls?
I read about 3 pages into it,
Oh,
but I never finished.
Okay, maybe not that. Let's go ahead and talk about Winter Girls now.
All right.
Please. And a teacher. And I happen to know that Stephanie is going to talk to us from the virtual. Let's let Stephanie go first.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we do hear you, Stephanie.
Okay, well, the thing that struck me most about Winter Girls right off the bat was the voice that the author gave to Leah. It just seemed so real. It was almost like she took the voice out of someone's diary that had gone through all that experience. It just made me believe it, and it made me connect with it and feel something for it. And that was my favorite thing about the whole book, is that I felt something for Leah. And at the end, I had a better understanding of what girls like that go through that I had never known before.
Thank you, Stephanie. Now let's hear from someone here.
Okay, I'm gonna start, I guess. I read the book. Honestly, I just wanted to throw it across the room.
Now I'm gonna sit down.
Why is that?
Yeah, you have to say why.
You can't just say that, please. Before this, I read Willow, which was about a cutter, and then I read this, which is about an anorexic girl who also cuts. It just was kind of depressing, and I wanted to throw it across the room. However, I did like the fact that she wrote it, and things were written and then crossed out. And
then 2 blank pages.
Yes.
yeah.
I really want to hear it read, because we got to talk with Lori Hall Sanderson, and we got to sign her shoes too. I'm really excited about that.
Well, say hi to her.
Wait, she's here?
She's here?
No, just out there.
Hi, Lori Hall Sanderson! All right, so she was talking about how she got this girl to read it, and like I'm not one for listening to people read books to me, but the way that she said the girl read it, and the way that she did the blanking parts, and like the whole part where like there's 2 pages of silence, that just really intrigues me, and I really want to see how the voice, the girl, can do that with this book, because this book's intense. You know, it's not just, oh, well, I can just read this happy-dappy, you know? This is, like, intense, so I really want to hear about that.
Make you cringe while you read.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I'm absolutely in love with this book. It was one of the first books I read when I came to this book club. And I really loved the character, all the characters pretty much. And I loved how none of them were perfect. None of them had that perfectness to them, but at the same time they didn't seem like intentionally flawed to make them not perfect. It was like a good balance of realism. And yeah.
I don't usually like books with troubled teens because they're usually just stereotypical, but Lori House Anderson always finds a way to make it work. Every single time I've read a book by her, it just always works. And it's amazing that she can get me, who just hates it when people complain, to like read this and feel connected to this character, even though I don't really have that much in common with her, and I understand where she's coming from. And the person who won the award, it was amazing how big of a role she played to her. Every few seconds she was just thinking about her, and she was so important. And I like this book.
All right. The beginning of the book is really intense. So it's just like the first part, the facts sneak in and stab me. When she gets to the worst part, body found in a motel room, alone. My walls go up and my door's locked. I nod like I'm listening, like we're communicating, and she never knows the difference. It's not nice when girls die. And it's just, that as an opening is pretty intense to me. I always remember openings to books because that's like some psychology thing. You remember the first thing and the last thing, and like just having that. And there's the part where she goes on, she called me 33 times or something, and that's just intense. She keeps mentioning it. I'm just getting shivers thinking about it. This was just amazing. Like, I read this book a year ago, and I can still pretty much vividly remember a lot of the details in this. And I really liked how, you know, every book you always want that Prince Charming character. You want him to come in and save your life. But there was no Prince Charming. Nobody came in and saved her. She saved herself in a way. And I just liked how you thought he was at first. I'm not going to spoil it, but then, you know, things just didn't turn out. And I really thought that was awesome. And I mean, I'm like, look, there's an entire page that's must not eat, must not eat, must not eat. That's intense. That's intense reading over and over again. Just so intense. I'm getting shivers thinking about it.
To elaborate on what she said, I screamed reading this book. I was like, oh my god, what's going on? No! But it was that intense. It's not crazy. And at the end where she just kind of goes, yeah, no spoilers. She goes crazy. And basically the way that's written, you can just feel, you don't have to even think about, oh, she's going crazy. You can just feel she's going crazy.
Because that was one of the problems people are saying. They're like, the end of the book is, it doesn't make sense. It's crazy. And then Mallory's like, well, the character is going slightly off a rocker. She hasn't been eaten, you know. When you stop eating or just stop sleeping in general, your mental processes aren't like straight, you know. You can't think right. So that, and I think she did an amazing job doing that, because, you know, it's really hard to get into your character and like almost feeling of pain and being able to write it like that. Sorry, I totally took your steam away.
That's okay. No big deal.
I do want everybody to know that Winter
And Valerie,
Girls...
please come and stand in front of the gnome.
I'm sorry. Winter Girls by Lori Hulse Anderson won the Eva Perry Mock Prince Book Club for Teens Award this year out of 450-something books that the teens reviewed. Congratulations, Lori Hulse Anderson.
You know, and I have to tell you that this is probably only the third time in 10 years that a book won both the teen and the teacher awards, because it also won from our NC State Teachers Group. Oh, yeah. Looking for Alaska by John Green, Neil Schusterman, and his Unwind, and now Winter Girls by Lori Hulse Anderson. So, cool. Thank you so much. Any other comments out there in our virtual land in the book hinge?
I think that's
You blew them away. You just blew them away, you guys. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Now we have the award, Best Male Character in a Starring Role. Best Male Character in a Starring Role.
I think you should read it again.
Okay. Laura. Shannon. These teens are very good at encouraging people to come up.
Just wanted to see who it is.
That's
Okay.
She's there with the wand.
Nominated for Best Male Character in a Starring Role is Cameron in Going Bovine and Marcello in The Real World. Or do you want
And the award goes to Cameron from Going Back.
I read the book. I love Cameron. I love everything about Going Bovine. It's the best book that I read this semester and maybe in a couple of years. Cameron was maybe the funniest character I've encountered in a long time, but then so is Gonzo and Balder. So I definitely think he deserved to win that. He made you laugh, he made you cry, and he was just, you know, at first when you meet him, you're like, okay, what's this guy's deal? But you just fall in love with him. So, yay, Cameron.
From a teen's perspective.
I did not read it.
Okay.
We're talking about Going Bovine?
Yeah, we need, I knew, Nicole. And Hannah. And Sharon.
Okay, so I'm really ashamed of myself. I let this book sit in my floor for 2 months because nobody wanted it. And it has a cow on the cover. Who wants to read about cows?
And a garden.
Yeah, I mean, it just didn't, I was just like, okay, it's a Liv Bray book. I like her other books. And I'm like, this doesn't sound so good. I start reading it, and you get to the titles like, meeting potheads in the bathroom. What? I'm speaking too quietly? Alright, anyways, I don't want to tell the plot of the book because I stink at that. Okay, but I really love this book just in the fact that I would be sitting in my creative writing class, and I'd be like, dude, porcupine, look at this title, look at this title, look at this, oh my gosh, hold on, oh, look at this line, look at this line. And then
She did it to me.
and then I have my friend Joe, he's like my big brother online, and there's the Dulcie girl, and I'm like, Joe, this girl would be perfect for you. So I read it to him, and he's like, that is definitely my type of girl. So, you know, when you start trying to give your big brother a fictional girlfriend, you know it's a pretty good book. I love the Garden Gnome, and the part where he's like, I'm so sick of people taking pictures of me, I want to take pictures of other people. That was hysterical, come on. And also, the big deal with this is, if you read the Great and Terrible Beauty, Rebel Angels, the Sweet Thing, whatever. Yeah. Really? Yeah, I read all of them. Yeah. She wrote like these Victoria age thing that had magic, and then she writes this. Like left field, man, you know. What were you thinking? But it's amazing and well done, and I wish more people read this because I probably would have voted this more up on the Prince Award winner than I did because peer pressure. I felt really bad. I was like one of 3 people who read it. But, yeah, I don't want to tell you the plot, but just the way that's written, you have to pay attention to what she's saying to figure out the ending. And, like, I like how it comes full circle without spoiling anything. I'm talking too much.
Okay, I unfortunately read this after we'd already voted, but if I'd read it before, oh my gosh, this would have been like, I don't know, it would probably have been my number one because I love this book and I didn't really like anything else. But I mean, I liked it, but not as much.
That's Sharon, you know.
Yes, I don't
She's
like.
very discerning.
I don't like a lot of stuff.
Did you read the acknowledgement?
It's fine.
Oh my gosh, this book, I like the supporting characters, I like the garden gnome, but I love Cameron. He's amazing, and he just reminds me so much of me, only he's mad cow disease. I don't know. I mean, I act like that sometimes, even when I'm not.
I do.
I love him. He's amazing, and I relate to him, even though most people probably wouldn't, but it's amazing, and just his voice is so strong.
I was a big fan of Libba Bray before I read this, and her other books are completely different. So I was kind of looking at it being like, after I finished it, I was really surprised to see who had written it. But she does this just as well as she does the other ones. This was an amazing book. It's incredibly clever. If you read it, you can make the mistake thinking that it's like a comedy, lighthearted, but it deals with a lot of serious issues in a lighthearted way, and you have to be paying attention the entire time you're reading it. Little foreshadowing clues are in every single page, and it was beautifully done. It was a wonderful book, and I really loved Cameron. He was a really relatable character in a really odd way, because we all have our little quirks, like how I thought the Small World ride was the afterlife. Yeah, he thought that he was going to heaven. I don't know, that just struck me as a very real thing to think. And I really love Dulcie. I would be her best friend. She was amazing. And Baldur and all the supporting characters really add. But I really like how even he's going insane, but it's still a very real way to go insane.
Well said.
Yeah, so I agree with like everything everyone just said. And I don't know, Cameron is just so amazing, and all the characters are like, even his family, like, they all like seem so real, even though they're just supporting characters. They were even like, they had, I don't know, they were so little part, but not a little part in the book. They had not a lot to say in the book, but they, at the same time, they had a big voice at the same time. And it was all just really well done.
Now, I wanted to ask Laura, you were going to say a few words about this. Would you like to?
Oh, well, they already said a lot.
They said everything. They said it all. Okay. Well, then we'll give that second to Nicole.
Oh, dude. Okay, so the first chapter. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited. The first chapter starts off with him saying, "Oh, I was drowned when I was 5," and that was with the like what I was saying earlier. You remember the beginning and you remember the end. I almost drowned when I was 5. I almost drowned when I was 2, but that doesn't mean anything.
Where did he almost drown?
Yeah, the best day of my life happened when I was 5, and I almost died at Disney World. I mean, that's awesome. And if you read her acknowledgments, just before it, it like preempts how awesome the book is going to be. This book, I'm really excited now.
Can you tell?
I'm sorry.
It's going to be a cult favorite. No, never say you're sorry for loving a book. This is great. Thank you. Going Bovine was one of our top books, okay, for the teacher group.
It's like pure comedy.
Now let's have Best Female Character in a Starring Role. Who could that be? Best Female Character in a Starring Role.
Right. Nominated for Best Female Character in a Starring Role: Mia from If I Stay, Leah from Winter Girls, Tara from North of Beautiful, and Katniss Catching Fire.
And the winner is Mia from If I Stay.
Oh! That's not a surprise. Why? Any comment on why you think that's so?
I didn't read.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't
comment.
I didn't read Winter Girls, so I can't compare the two. But Mia had the whole book is written in her voice, and it's, I don't know, she was a really relatable character. I really loved her.
And she was very real. Like, it wasn't like a scary, like, she was just, yeah, like she said, you could really easily relate to her. And that's not, and a lot of books today, like this past year, there wasn't a ton of books that I was excited about. Like, I was excited about Winter Girls, and I was excited about If I Stay and Bones of Fairy, yeah. But like, If I Stay was one of the books that I could relate most to the character. Like, there was things that just sort of, you know, amazing. Again, with the whole character thing in that book. Yeah.
Well, it was a lot because, like, in Winter Girls, it's about an anorexic, and most of us, I hope, aren't anorexics. And a lot of the books take place with, she's a normal person, Mia. And it's not a normal choice that most people have to make, but you could see yourself, you put yourself in her position, and I think that made her a really realistic voice more than anything.
Well said, well said. Thank you. Is there anyone there from the virtual world who'd like to say anything about Mia from If I Stay? Don't want to leave you guys out. All right, let's go to nominated for Best Character Development. This could be interesting. Best Character Development. Please, Hannah.
Yeah, you go.
Laura. And Nikki. I love the one. Come on.
Do you want to do the first part?
Sure. Nominated for Best Character Development, Mia, If I Stay, Marcello in the Real World, Katniss, Catching Fire, the mother of the main character of North of Beautiful, or Leah of Winter Girls.
Thank you. And the winner is Mom! North of Beautiful.
Oh, Who wants to talk about North of Beautiful, please? Okay, thank you.
Anyone else want to?
I will.
And you know, I know, let's give North of Beautiful, Janice is going to say something too after you guys, so get your voice ready, Janice.
Well, how do I start with this? In North of Beautiful, the mother starts out as like, she's very kind of, she has no self-esteem at all. And her husband is very kind of verbally abusive in a way, kind of like he constantly berates her and all this and all that kind of thing. And she never thinks of herself as, you know, beautiful or anything like that. And her daughter has this port wine stain on her face, and she kind of tries to make her daughter's port wine stain less as a way to feel better about herself almost, because her daughter doesn't really care much anymore about it. But as the book goes on, she finds out more about herself, and she really develops as a character, and she comes to find herself as beautiful, and she'll wear, like towards the end, she puts on this dress in this color that's this bright, beautiful dress that she would never have worn before. And I don't want to spoil everything, but I'm just going to keep.
Go ahead. You're doing good.
But, and she kind of blossoms as a person, and almost more than the main character does. But, it really showed in the book, and I actually felt more connected to the mother than the main character, really. But, no, honestly, I really thought it was a great character development. So.
Oh, that's funny, because I really liked the teen boy character in this book. North of Beautiful is a beautiful story about women finding out about what real beauty is, from the mother, the daughter, and from another older woman and her son. And it's very intertwined into traveling, and these four go to China, and they each have to face difficulties that they had. This is one of the few books that I've actually gotten tears at certain points reading. This is the book that I recommend to all mother-daughter book clubs, or to any adult book club that wants to read a teen book. And I'm recommending North of Beautiful. This is one book that I think spans the generation gap, and it's just beautifully, beautifully written. Every teen that read this loved it. That read the whole book loved it. You will start out, the beginning chapter is kind of slow, and you go, oh, this is all about physical beauty, and she's got a port wine stain, and oh, yuck. But it keep going, because once you hit a certain point, it just captures you, and you're off on a wonderful story. But I highly recommend it. One of my favorite books this year, North of Beautiful. by Justina Chen Headley.
Valerie, you have a perspective of so many young adult books. Don't you think it's very rare for parents to play such a role like this? I mean, usually they're out of sight.
I loved that, that the parents were a little bit more rounded. In the book club, we get very frustrated that teens are stereotypical. They constantly put you in a little, label you. Well, I find that in a lot of teen books, they do that to the parents too. And this book doesn't, and I just loved it. And these are real people. These are the people that live down the street from you, that go to school with you, just fantastic. And the young man that she meets that helps her realize that she is beautiful, whether she covers her port wine stain with that heavy makeup or not, he is just fabulous. So, highly recommend this book. Okay.
Now, I'd also like, Janice, did you want to say something about this book?
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. We got your eternal buzz, but that's okay. We know you're here.
I'm sorry. I really enjoyed this book. I never considered myself to be a fan of young adult literature, but this book, it spoke to me, and I really thought the characters were very relatable. I am fortunate in that I don't have to experience that distant relationship with my own family, but I do think there are a lot of things in this book that I know that young teenagers and even younger children than that go through with just the way their parents treat them and even the way their friends treat them. And I really just appreciated the journey and the change that you saw in both the mom and in Tara. And I just really thought it was a good book, and I would definitely recommend it.
Thank you, Janice. The Journey, yes. A very interesting book. They actually make a journey to China and the whole cultural thing. It's a fascinating book. Okay. Any other comments from the virtual world? All right, this was one of our top award winners too, one of our honor books from the NC State group. Let's go next to one of our favorite categories, the quirkiest character. Sure. Who would like to? I love the wand. Yeah, use the wand for the quirkiest.
Do you want to read it, or do you want me to read it?
I'd kind of like to read it. Nominated for quirkiest character, Gonzo from Going Bovine, the Garden Gnome from Going Bovine, Eric from Tales from Outer Suburbia, or Haruhi from The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya.
Alright, I thought Gonzo and the Garden Gnome were like the same thing for a second there. Fail on my part. The winner is a blue paper. No. Eric!
Everybody knows Eric. Who would like to talk about Eric?
Okay. So, alright, where's a perfect picture of this guy? Oh my god.
Yeah, no, it's going to be, I'm not sure we're going to see this.
Okay, I don't know if you guys can see this, but he is amazing.
He's adorable.
Oh.
He's the foreign exchange student.
Yeah, he's the foreign exchange student.
Foreign exchange.
And I saw this book. I saw this book on our shelves, and I was like, I was looking at like how thick these books were, and then I looked at this, and I was like, really? And I read this, and I love Eric. He's so adorable. And then, like this, I don't know if you guys can.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Like
I love the end of the
like, I can't.
Yeah. I just have to get the book and look.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You need to read this. Okay. Well, this is actually a bunch of little short stories and poems that this Sean Tan wrote, and I mean, my favorite would definitely be the one with Eric, who's the foreign exchange student. He's adorable. It quotes on the foreign exchange student. He's like, he's so cute and he's so sweet, and I love the end. It made me so happy. I love this book. I really do. I love Sean Tan. He's amazing.
Okay, so he's like 3 inches tall, right? Like 3 inches tall.
Like that's him with a seatbelt on.
and like the illustrations show like this little 3-inch guy, but they keep like writing like he's an actual foreign exchange student. Like this guy, foreign exchange student, came to my house and we went out to look at the zoo, and then it has like a little guy like the size of a cake, you know, like the size of a fork, and I felt fuzzy and warm inside. It was so cute. I was like at Wendy's and I was like, he looked at me funny, and it was great. It's so adorable.
I know. And like the family's so sweet too.
Yeah,
they
so
just
sweet.
accept him
They're just
so
like,
well, and they try to be so nice.
I love his thank you.
I know. That was.
And then of course the ending was adorable.
That part actually made me cry a little, even though it's so sweet.
I just want to speak about the book in its entirety a little bit, because I'm not sure we're going to get a chance to with any other awards. It's kind of a graphic novel in that there's not a lot of text. There's a lot of pictures, and the pictures really tell the story. There's beautiful illustrations, and I think it's a didactic book in many regards. There's kind of morals and ethics embedded in each of the short stories, and definitely recommend it. It's a great book.
I am just as excited about this book as these two girls and Scott. This was probably one of my favorites. I really liked If I Stay and Winter Girls, but this gave me something completely different, and I'll never forget what it has given me. My favorite story was the story about the whale that visited the suburban neighborhood. You guys know? And the boy goes at night, and they take the whale away. The whale's sick, and the boy lays in the center of the overshadow, and he hears his parents arguing about the whale inside, and that just struck me as the kind of the defining story of this book, because it does talk about really deep things in a very not so lighthearted, but twisted way and an imaginative way that made me, in a light way that made me recall my own childhood in a suburban neighborhood, and I just really loved it. So, there.
Thanks, everybody.
I think they like the book a little.
How about best animal character? This is one of my favorite
I'm the
categories.
biologist.
Biologist, yes, that'd be great. Did you figure out what Eric was, though?
Okay. Nominations for Best Animal Character are Tallow the cat from Bones of Fairy, Eric from Tales of Outer Suburbia, Marlowe the cat from Malice, and Beck from Shiver.
Drum roll, please. And the winner is Eric from Tales of
These haven't had another chance to talk about them, but I'm glad you've already told us about the book. Okay? Cool. Now did anybody else want to say anything? I think we all love Eric. Okay. Let's move on then. But he may not be our literary boyfriend, right? Oh, no. Unless you do like quirky characters. Okay. Most beautifully crafted writing. Nominations for most beautifully crafted writing.
Oh, wow. There's a lot of good writers in here. Nominated for most beautifully crafted writing. If I Stay by Gail Foreman, Winter Girls by Lori Hall Sanderson, North of Beautiful by Justine Headley, Bones of Fairy by Janie Lee Sumner, Tales of Outer Suburbia by Shauna Tan.
And the winner is, breaking open it.
Winter Girls by Lori Hall Sanderson.
Thank you. And I think that we've said volumes already about Laura. Again, up for non-Academy Awards, Melinda Awards. Now we have another one of my favorite categories, Best Kiss. Don't knock anybody over trying to get up here. I know. Best Kiss. That's a popular one.
Yeah, sure. Nominated for Best Kiss is If I Stay, Going Bovine, North of Beautiful, and Shiver. And the winner is If I say.
Tell us about it. Somebody tell us just a little about it.
Don't spoil.
Okay, I'm trying to think how to do this without spoiling.
Mushy.
Okay. I don't know how you explain this without like.
Well, you can set it up for us.
Talk about that.
Talk about the kids.
I don't know.
Wasn't she like not expecting it or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know how. I can't
talk about it without
explain it.
telling.
I know it's so hard to
Tell us
explain.
who it's between.
It's between the main character and her boyfriend. But her like okay. And another thing I wanted to say was her boyfriend seems perfect, but it's in her point of view. So I want to just point it out that it makes him look like he's perfect. That's why. So if you read this and you're like. So I thought I'd point that out. That bothers me.
I know, you guys talked a lot about that. I thought that was a good insight. Yeah, the next one just happens to be Best Literary Boyfriend.
I want to read that one.
This could be interesting.
I want to go.
Oh.
Do you want to read it?
Sure.
Awesome.
Best Literary Boyfriend. Jacob, North of Beautiful, Adam, If I Stay, and Sam, Shiver.
And the winner is not the blue paper. Adam, If I Stay! I just want to mention something awesome about Adam. So it's obvious, she's in a coma. He is so awesome that he manages to get a lead singer of this famous band to come in, try to distract the nurses so that he could see his girlfriend. I think that is like one of the sweetest things ever, and if my boyfriend did that for me, I'd probably be like, oh!
Did you mean a coma?
Yes, I mean a coma! So, I want to be able to soon. Well, I hope that never happens.
For that.
Yeah, I'd be like, soon! Oh, I'm going back. Do you want to talk about him?
Sure.
You can talk about more. Let's sit down.
Adam is awesome. He's in a band, which is kind of cliche, but he's actually very serious about his music, and that's the main thing they have in common. She's into classic music, and he's into the punk rock scene, but they still manage to work it out. And he's really sweet and thoughtful, and he doesn't have like the whole attitude thing going on that most rock stars do. He's a sweetheart. I really like him.
I'm gonna say the opposite because I'm a mean person.
What controversy?
I did not like this book quite so much. I liked the main character. She was interesting. I liked how she progressed through her thoughts. It wasn't really realistic in my opinion. I guess I'm just a jaded person. But nobody sees their boyfriend as perfect. Every relationship has problems, and there are no problems in this except, oh, I don't know. I want to go to college here, but I want to stay with my boyfriend. What a crisis. Oh my god. There's the problem with her in a coma, but that's not even true.
He's gonna leave me. I don't want to. He's in the band.
They all don't leave her. He's perfect.
They all think he's perfect.
They also
Nobody thinks their boyfriend is perfect. Alright, well then I do not relate to her or her relationship.
Sam, you also have to realize that this book is about her and not her relationship with the boy.
No, but it's a big part of it.
No, it's not. It's semi-big, but they're not going to sit there and like,
it's a decision.
it's not going to sit there, she's not going to sit there and point out all the faults in their relationship.
I'm in your coma.
I wrote that in my book.
If I was in a coma and debating if I should
You
stay,
have to think about the positive things.
if I was in a coma debating if I should stay or go, I would think about the negative. She definitely thinks about
Well,
the
you're
negative with her
pessimistic
family.
about
She
how-
does. She does. But there's no negative in that relationship.
I don't think
That's
she really...
too.
No, wait a minute. There was negative because I gotta come up here. Okay, there was negative because she, at one point, she realized that she was just too out of place. Like she was the classical player, the one that played the cello. I could relate to that because I'm a musician. And he is the punk rock type of guy, and he jams it out. Well, when she goes to his gigs. When she goes to his gigs, she feels really out of place. That is a negative. She does not fit in, but then she tries to fit in.
That's not that big of a deal.
It is a big deal because she is changing herself to be with him.
Okay. Yes. Oh, please. Okay. Nikki gets to say
I just have
something.
to say that I can see both sides of the argument.
pretty clearly, and I think that
good.
I think that he was a little bit unrealistically perfect, but at the same time, I also agree that it was through her eyes. So she wasn't about to sit there and point out all his flaws. However, I do think that what they could have done is had maybe one flashback where she was reviewing something that maybe something went wrong and she was mad at him, but then they resolved it. And that still would have made him a bit more realistic in my eyes and still would have been this amazingly awesome guy.
They had like this, I'm trying to think.
They never actually fought, even though she had trouble fitting into his world.
Yeah.
She never had any problem with him. She just had trouble fitting into his world.
She never had no problems with her family or anything.
She didn't, and she wasn't happy that he didn't get along with her best friend. That was kind of a big deal.
That's true.
Because see, with me, I dated when I dated a guy, this one guy, my friends were like, Catherine, don't date him. I actually ignored my friends, and I should have listened to them. So I'm always on my friends with the side of the whole guy thing because
liked him. She just didn't relate to him.
no, her best friend, the one
She didn't want to be his friend.
Okay,
Jump in, Dave.
I see there's going to be no peace on this one. No peace making. Hannah, do you want to muddy the waters or clean them up?
I'm with her. I'm like kind of middle a little bit, but I'm more towards he's really awesome, but he's too perfect, you know? There's like parts of like, oh, I really like this guy. And there are parts that are like, he's a little unrealistic, you know, like a little idealized, but like, I thought the whole...
But he's a literary boyfriend. He doesn't have to be the real boyfriend.
No, this is a real boyfriend. But
No, I'm
but
stating my problems
he
with
was. I probably would have liked him more if he had more faults. Not just ones that she points out, like, oh, he's got like a boil on his face. No, but like if he personally had more faults, the way he acted around people or interacted with his world or
It would be
her
cute if he
world.
was like socially awkward.
Yeah,
Everyone
like,
has
something.
their tragic flaws.
Someone has
We're going to let this rest. Who would have thought literary boyfriend would have been creative? No, I loved it. We loved it. Okay. And again, this group read all those 400 books looking for literary quality, all right? And so this is great that we have something that really gets them excited and talk about and to have fun with, okay? Let's look at the next category, most issuey. Oh my gosh, this would be the next category. Here we go again. Most issuey. Who would like to talk about most issuey? Who would like to make that presentation? Okay, please. Krista, Scott, they'll let you up.
Sure. Yeah. All right, nominated for most issuey: Genesis, Winter Girls, Jumping Off Swings, Love You, Hate You, Miss You.
And the winner is Winter Girls.
Surprise!
Thank you. Did anybody want to make a comment?
No, we've covered it.
We've covered it. Thank you. Now, the next award is for Best Fantasy. Who would like to stand up and present Best Fantasy? Perfect with the lawn, yes.
I got one other person. Okay.
All right. Nominated for Best Fantasy: Monsterologies, Tales of Madman Underground, Bones of Fairy, Dragonfly, and Fire. Y'all hear it.
Everybody else did it so neat. I feel bad with them sharing it.
Bones of Fairy.
Woo! We've talked a lot about that book too. Unless you have anything, okay.
I have something to add.
Please, Hannah.
I'm the only person who doesn't like it.
It's a love or hate book. You cannot.
It's a love or hate book. Okay, well you can, 1 minute to say something.
This is somebody said negative about it, then I'll just.
What?
Somebody say negative about
I mean, there is some negative things about
Well,
it.
sure. Well, sure.
Like the characterization's a little bit iffy, and like just I know people mention the part where the girl meets up with a guy. That's just really unrealistic or whatever. So I can kind of see that, and just how things work out to be really perfect, and like some of the interactions are just a little.
Well, you know what that says to me is that, again, you guys were looking for literary quality. It did not make your top.
It's also a debut novel too, so I think she did a fabulous job.
Fabulous job.
Coming out with an original idea, blowing up fairies. That's all I can think of when I.
Thank you.
That's good.
Hannah, what did you want to say? Because we do want to hear it.
Yeah.
Please, come forward.
I'll come up with you. Okay. No particular reason other than moral support.
And her wand. You know, there's something magical about that.
You can hold it.
Oh, yeah, let her hold the wand.
My name tags in my hair.
Okay, you can hold the wand. Here you go.
Okay, magical sparkly wand. Well, I personally kind of wanted to throw the book at the wall when I read it because it was just like, I was like, okay at first, interesting, and then it gets to the point where she's like in the woods with this guy, and it's like werewolf coming out of nowhere, and she's like, oh my god, werewolf, ah.
Yeah,
And then I'm like, what, that makes no sense! What the heck? I finished reading it, and I'm just like, it didn't make any sense, and the interactions felt very shallow. I'm just like, I don't know what I'm reading here.
Oh, I have a comment. Did you ever wonder how when he changed into the werewolf, like, he was always coming back and he was, like, naked, but then his nose didn't tear or anything? Oh my god. That was weird.
Okay, that's called consistency or lack of, you know, in the movie or in book.
You would bring that up.
That's weird. This book was really difficult to like get emotionally involved with. But there was that one thing that really stuck out when they left the baby on the hill.
Oh yeah.
Just die. That was the one part of the book where I was really, really connected to it. So I think that she did, like, it's her first novel, so that moment alone was worth reading the book for, because that shows real skill to, like, oh, it was really creepy.
She's really nice to talk to, too. And really funny.
Talk to her?
Oh, on Facebook.
Oh, on Facebook. Holly.
Well, we also had a connection with her, too.
Yeah.
Do you want to just stand up and just say it?
Oh. Okay. Well, so on one of the little book casts we had to do, the one that you guys watched, so one day I was checking my email and it was like, someone's commented on your book cast, and it was Janie Lee Sibner. And she was like, I'm really honored that I inspired you. But then she deleted her comment. I don't really know why.
Well,
but...
probably because she didn't want everybody to write her on her YouTube address.
Oh, true. Well, there you go. There you go.
That was very kind of you. Thank you very much. All right, best science fiction.
Ooh, can I do this one?
Science fiction.
No, you can't.
You know what? I'm doing it anyways. Come on, somebody come with me. I don't want to be by myself. Come with me. You want to actually read it since I read so many? Or there you go.
All right, nominated for Best Science Fiction is Genesis, Catching Fire and The Pricker Boy.
Did you read that?
No, I have no idea what that is.
That wasn't on their short list, but it was
Never heard of that
nominated.
We nominated. Yeah.
Oh well. Anyways. I just ripped it. The winner is Genesis! Oh my gosh! Can I talk about it now?
Sure you can.
Let's talk about Genesis. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Genesis.
Be sure to tell me, this was one of your honor books.
It was the only, but I just didn't read it.
It's got a list. I just dropped this. Anyways, Genesis is an amazing book, and I don't want to tell you the plot summary because
It's so hard.
I really stink at plot summaries. I'm really, really bad at plot summaries. Really. Really.
We're just like itching.
Alright, I'm not going to hold this anymore. But, okay, so what I liked about this book was the fact that it's two stories in one. It's like, I think that's actually called a frame story. I'm not sure. I'm trying to pull my AP English skills in here. But what happens is this girl, she's really smart. She's trying to get into this academy. And this guy's like, okay, I'll get you into the academy. You need to do a presentation. And so while she's doing her presentation, there's a panel of judges asking her questions about this guy. Why do I want to say his name's John Adams?
It's Adam.
Adam.
You know, reference to Genesis.
Yeah. I was thinking John Adams. Anyway, so she's doing her presentation on Adam, and while she's doing that, she's telling the story of Adam and what he did to get in trouble with the government. And what happens is this world is completely different. They're essentially on an island. They can't have any foreigners because foreigners have diseases. They will kill you, blah, 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 blah. And, so, I just got distracted. Anyways, so it's just dealing with that and then how he fights the system. And instead of going to jail, he deals with this computer guy. Art. Yeah, he's like a little bot thing, and,
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah, artificial intelligence. And he just deals with that, and he starts teaching the bot because the bot learns from him. And so as a really intelligent guy, the bot becomes kind of defiant and stuff. And it just goes on. And I just thought it's amazing how it's 150 pages exactly. And it just tells a story that's amazing that you feel like you could probably read 300, 400, 500 pages on and not have enough of it. And that was just amazing, and the details in it. And then like there's like, I suck at predicting stuff anyways, but there's awesome twists in here, and I'm just like, this is amazing. And I really like the cover because it's a really good teaser, because once you read the book, you're like, oh! So I don't want to ruin it, but it's definitely worth reading. It's only 150 pages long. And he's from New Zealand, so he's a Kiwi, which is awesome. Do you want to talk about it now?
I don't know what else to say.
I didn't say everything, I mean.
Well,
most of it.
the presentation that she's doing is like a dissertation where you have to defend your thesis or defend what it is that you've studied about. And she was a historian. And who she felt most connected with in learning history was Adam Ford, who was part of this pivotal part of their entire society. And so she spent all of her time trying to get closer and closer to the idea of what actually happened that created this huge moment in their history. And so you get that story and you get her story, and this is her pivotal moment, this examination. And so it's really awesome.
Genesis was my favorite. I sat down thinking it was going to be an easy read because it's very short. And when I finished, I put it down and I just had to sit there like, wow. This book is amazingly well done. It weaves the two stories together really well. I love the vague references to Genesis and the Bible, the idea of ideas, knowledge.
I didn't even see that.
You think about it, the idea of the
That's interesting.
knowledge like slowly starts to come in, and then Adam and Eve, that's the vague part at the beginning, but I really like how it deals with the moral issues of what makes a robot different from a human if the robot is just as capable of acting like a human. That was a big deal in the book. It was, the twist was amazing. I didn't see it coming. It was masterfully pulled off. You go back and you read it and you're like, oh, how did I not see that the first time? But he hides it really well. And I really like how the main character, she's giving her dissertation, and she gives them all the information, the panel of judges, and then they're like, well, this is what really happened. And they show her actual footage, so they add to the story. So she slowly starts to build more of the story in her mind. And I felt it was really interesting. I couldn't really relate to any of the characters, but they were interesting anyways.
Mine will be quick. I was not crazy about this book, but then again, I only read about maybe 10 pages. Okay, I know it's not fair. I know it's not fair, but it didn't... Sit down. Well, it didn't, I mean, it didn't draw me down. It didn't, like, draw me in, like make me want to read more. Like, it was just sort of... It made me think too much, and I thought it was a little bit, it felt more like an okay, wait a minute.
You just dropped a stake in every teacher's heart.
I'm sorry, teachers. I love you all, but
No, the other books weren't.
I learned too much. Like, I feel like I'm at school 24/7. But I just felt I don't know, I was so confused with what was going on. And I don't know, I just didn't get it. Like, it was... Read all of it together.
Yeah, you
Read a book and you
That's what I think. That's it all.
Okay. Well, I think the book deals with a lot of very high-level philosophical concepts that most people will be like, what? You know? But it pulls them off in such a way that I personally didn't feel like I was learning. Or I didn't feel like I was learning. It's horrible. But no. But I just, the concepts that this book just brings forth really stick with you. Like, will stick with me at least. And the plot twist, and everyone says the plot twist was like crazy. You start the book for like 10 minutes and you're like, what just happened? What's going on? But it was like, And you can put all of that in 150 pages, which most books would take like 600 pages to tell you. And I personally love this book. It's one of my favorites of the year. And
Okay, I kind of actually agree with Catherine on this one. I read it. I read the whole thing. Sorry, that sounded mean, but I didn't mean it that way. I read this book, and I agree with everything you guys say, actually. It was amazing, and at the end, I was like, wow, this has told me so much about, like, humans, and, like, I learned so much about society and stuff, and it was very psychological and very cool, but while I was reading it, I was really bored. I did not like the beginning, and I was very angry that it won on our list because it's not teen. I'm sorry, and this shows that it's adult.
We'll talk
I
about
guess
that.
it's gone to adult, because that's what I thought, and I loved it, I really did, but when I was reading it, I was like, I don't relate to this main character. I love the story with Art, and I love the story with Adam, but I don't like the main character. I didn't really like her at all until the end when I felt sorry for her. And that was just because I was like, oh, that really sucks. I don't know. I didn't like that it won our teen thing because it wasn't relatable to teens at all, I don't think.
Anaximander, the main character, she is a teen, and she is trying very hard to get into a very coveted school of higher learning. Some of you guys relate to that a little bit?
Yeah.
Well, applying to college. And what you do is that you are introduced to her reality. And while she's giving her dissertation, you are learning the history of this place that she lives. And when you are finished with learning the history, when she is finished, you realize it's a totally different reality. It's a great book. It's very concise. I received a copy of this galley at a dinner, I thought, of children's publishers. They handed it to me, told me I would love it. They were absolutely right. And so I gave this to my teens, and the first teens that read it thought it was the best book they'd ever read. And then I was sitting there telling our Cheryl Teal, who orders our books, you must get us some copies of this. She said, I can't find the book. And they looked and looked, and they said, well, the publishing company in the United States is publishing it as an adult book. This book was originally published for teens. It won an award in Australia for children's book. It also was reviewed in a British book review, and it was recommended for 13 and up. So I had to sit here and decide, and I decided that, yes, this does meet the criteria of a teen book. We kept it in, and it did win an honor.
Cool. Thank you so much. That will be good for librarians in public schools as well as public libraries to hear out there and teachers to hear out there. Was there any comments from the book hinge about this book? Any comments about Genesis?
I was the only one that read it.
Yeah. How about, I think, Red Sea, you had some comments to make about Bones of Fairy. Oh, Rip Piece. Tanisha. Speak up, Tanisha. If you're like me, you probably have yourself muted. Okay, speak up, Tanisha. We'll give you another chance, okay? Here she comes. Tanisha, we can't hear you.
She keeps crashing in Second Life.
Oh, okay. Very sorry. Well, if you type in something, we'll next time you get on, we'll share that with everybody. Okay, we are winding
It
to a
doesn't look like she's here anymore.
Oh, okay. We're going to follow up with Best Graphic Novel. Okay?
Sure. Okay. Nominated for Best Graphic Novel, The Eternal Smile, Tales from Outer Suburbia, Malice, and Orange.
Malice.
Tales from Outer Suburbia.
Who's surprised? We've already talked about this. This is a cool. Oh yeah, we've talked a lot about it. This is a cool award for best cover. Best cover. Please, Hannah.
We'll come with you. Eat chocolate, you read.
Okay. Nominated for best cover, Winter Girls, Shiver, Going Bovine.
Of chocolate, I'm sorry. And the winner is Winter Girls! Woo!
Did you share the cover?
The cover is gorgeous. They got it from some guy in like Canada or something. No, she was talking about this at her book signing, and I swear she said she got it from some guy in Canada, and he was like an amateur photographer, which is really awesome because I don't know. I go to DeviantArt a lot, and that's where I don't know if anybody's heard of that.
I love DeviantArt. Oh,
Yeah, I live there, and so that's
Maybe she found it there.
That's what I asked her. I'm like, have you heard of it? Did you find it there? Because I'm like, I want to stalk that guy. I'm like, oh my gosh! So yeah, I thought it was really awesome, and I really like how publishing companies are supporting amateur photographers by putting them on their covers. Because sometimes amateur stuff can be better than even professional stuff, because amateurs are a little bit fresh and they're not jaded by the publishing companies. That's just my opinion.
Well said.
Well,
Okay, you can clap. Oh, you've got M&Ms. Handful of M&Ms, can't clap. Best title. Cool. Thanks, Laura.
I'm sorry. Okay. Nominated for Best Title, Tales from Outer Suburbia, Going Bovine, North of Beautiful, Winter Girls, and Reformed Vampire Support Group.
Yeah, the winner is
Going Bovine.
Thank you. Do you think that's going to sort of enter the language?
I think it's going to be a cult classic like it says in the back of the book.
Okay, I think so. We'll talk about Going Bovine. All right, I have the last award. Now, don't worry, we have a few more minutes. We can talk about a few more books. But let's go ahead and give the last award. This is the award for Lifetime Achievement.
No, look up her eyes.
I've got to cover them up, the names here. But who would like to make the award for Lifetime Achievement?
Yeah, why don't we do all come up?
Why don't you all come up?
We're going to each read a letter. We'll get around eventually.
I love that. Everybody up.
Or like every other word, Hey, you need to come up here too. Miss,
I'm slow.
Hey, Catherine, you're short. You can just stand in front of me. I'm really tall today.
Okay, am I
Well, you move here. You move here. Let's play Tetris.
Nominated for Lifetime Achievement Award, Suzanne Collins, Leba Bray, and Lori Hall Sanderson.
Woo! Okay, awesome! I'm so excited.
Oh, excellent.
Okay, and the winner is... we can't have a drum roll because everybody's standing up. Woo! The winner is Lori Hall Sanderson! Not that you're watching, but you've never seen me.
We never know. John Green saw this as it was archived on the web.
What? No, wait, what? John Green saw this on the
Oh, okay, cool.
So would I.
She's already. She's high. She's like 50, but not really.
And since Winter Girls was the book of the year for the Eva Perry group, we have a copy for them if somebody would like to accept the award.
Go Larry.
Thank you so much. And I can always use another copy of Lori Hall Sanderson's book.
And let's go to the next one. Valerie, you got to see this.
Oh, yeah.
Catherine, I'm like,
This is happy 10th birthday to Eva Perry in May, right? Come on
May.
up. Yeah, come on up. Yeah, so we just want to say that 10 years from now, who knows? You guys just keep growing stronger and stronger.
We started off with 2 teams, with just 2 teams, and now they just come in floods, and I love it. The one thing that I recommend to anybody that's working with team book clubs is you must give it time. It took us 3 to 4 years to get a really good core group of teams. You can advertise all you want. I've learned it's word of mouth. through the teens. You connect with the teens, they will find other teen readers to come join the group book club. Thank you, guys.
And the fearless leader. Well, you guys, we have just a few minutes. Is there anyone out there in the book hinge who would like to comment? There are a few other books there's many other books we haven't talked about. The Melancholy of Haruhi Tsushima. Dragonfly. Monstrologist, Shiver. Shiver a lot of people read. Would anybody like to talk about Shiver?
She's going to do Shiver.
Okay. Let's do it, please.
Okay. Shiver by Maggie, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Steve Bader. I am absolutely in love with this book and all of the characters, and it's about this girl, can't remember her name. It's about this girl, and when she was really young, she got dragged into the woods by these wolves, and she was getting ripped apart and bit, and she was about to die, and then this one wolf stood over her and protected her from the other wolves and took her back to her backyard, and all her life she's been looking in the woods to see this, and she can see the wolf and his yellow eyes, and you come to find out that all those wolves, they weren't actually wolves, they were werewolves, and basically there's some freak incident and the guy ends up changing back into a human before he's actually supposed to, and he shows up on her doorstep, and it's kind of about them.
Do they have no clothes on? Yeah.
It's about them really discovering each other and themselves and growing, and I love it so much.
I think he had no clothes on.
Trying to save him.
Yeah, and trying to save him from his werewolfism. It's a great book.
Thank you. Thank you. Did you want to say something,
I
Sharon?
want to say something about monstromology.
All right.
Nobody said anything.
No, nobody had a chance to.
And I
Please
feel
do.
really bad saying something about this because I'm not done with it yet. I'm reading it currently.
Relax, Catherine.
An amazing book. It's one of the only books ever that has scared me. I don't get scared by books. This is a freaky book. But it's amazing. The language is amazing. The characters are very interesting. It's a good book. You should read it if you're not weak in the stomach. Yeah. And I'm squeamish, so that's fun. I still like it. It's a very amazing. I want to finish it.
Okay, absolutely. I did finish The Monstromologist and absolutely loved it. I've always loved scary stories and science fiction and things like that. And basically it's about a young man who's reading diaries or journals from back at the turn of the century, and then you go into the story of the journal. The reason I was so impressed with this book is that the writing style takes a little bit of that essence of the turn of the century writing style and puts it in this book. Not enough to drag it down to where you feel like you're reading through molasses, but just enough to make you realize that you are at turn of the century. I will warn some people that it does have some pretty graphic violence in it, okay? But the main thing that comes through at the end of this book is that not all monsters are creepy other creatures, that there are humans that are also monsters without lecturing it to you. It comes through in a very nice way. You discover it yourself very easily. Since this is not the last of the journals, I'm hoping that there's going to be a sequel, because I can't wait to read it. The writing is beautiful. If you like that sit on your edge of your seat, creepy kind of book, this is wonderful. It really was. And like I said, the writing style is beautiful. But teachers, just be a little aware about the graphic violence, okay?
Oh, it's a freaky book.
Well, let's hear from a teacher. Yeah, teacher.
Yay. So I also read The Monstromologist and I loved it.
I would read it again a million times just because the language is great and the story is so compelling, like they said. There's a lot of really grotesque scenes that keep you on the edge of your chair. But I love the reflections. I mean, Will Henry makes so many connections between the monsters and ourselves. You start to see them as just, they're not really monsters, they're just like a lion or anything else. The monsters, like they said, are us at times, and the depths that humanity can sink to. But in that, I mean, all the characters grow, and it's a really amazing novel.
Thank you. We're going to have to call an end. We've got wonderful more books to talk about, but we're going to have to draw this to an end. Anyone else out there in the virtual world, in the book hinge, who would like to comment about Monstrumologist or any of the other books?
I'll say something about Shiver.
Please do.
Well, I know from the teacher perspective, a lot of us didn't necessarily like it. But what I really did like about the book was how the author took the typical werewolf story and made it into something of her own. Instead of the werewolves changing with the moon, it's with the temperature and how it's different. I thought that was really interesting.
Is that Catherine? Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you for your comment, okay? Any other comments from the book hinge? While you're thinking, I did want to tell you that the actual official Prince Award for the American Library Association, Going Bovine, you picked it, you called it, Nicole. Yeah. Monstrumologist, Punkzilla. Okay, we could talk volumes about Punkzilla. That'd be interesting. And Charles and Emma. Okay, historical fiction for the books of the year. So I think we've done pretty well, in this time that we've had together, talk about books. And so we're going to say goodnight. We're going to eat some more M&Ms and pizza. But I just want to thank everyone who came tonight. Thank you to the stars of our show, the Eva Perry Club. Let's give them a big hand. Give it up for her. To the NC State Young Adult Literature Class. Actual and virtual, thank you. We want to say thank you to the teens and Teen Second Life on Sparta Island for joining us. You have to read these books. And thank you, USDLC's beautiful Star Island, for hosting the event. And of course, thank you, Ajax Quinnell, for being the wizard, and Jerry, the magician here, for being the wizards to make this all possible. It's not easy to have the virtual talk to the actual at the same time. Pretty amazing stuff. But you know what? When it comes down to books and literature, technology just adds a little bit more magic. Yes. Okay. Thank you, guys. Watch the bookcast on our Book Hinge 2010.